You don't do Agile, you are Agile. Agile is, first and foremost, a mindset. It's a way you approach and tackle problems. So cross-functional means that in traditional software development, if you're a developer, you're a developer, you're a developer. If you're a QA, you're a QA, you're a QA, right? Now, the beauty about, in the shift that we're trying to move to, and something that I found tough explaining before, is cross-functionality, that developers should have the ability to discuss design, or testers should have the ability to write user stories or requirements, right? We should start blurring the lines between these different functional roles, right? And that's the beauty of Agile and Scrum, is that you have the opportunity to do other things. Think about if you're creating, what's something that you've created, a piece of homework, right? A PowerPoint deck. Let's say you're creating a PowerPoint deck, and your job is to put together the first page, the first slide. How much do you really care of the whole product? Probably not that much. You can only care and innovate and transform this PowerPoint slide so much when all you're responsible for is the first piece of it. You're like, okay, I'm only responsible for this. I'm going to hand this over. I'm going to see what they're going to do with it. So there's also a fact of actually getting a fantastic product at the end. When all you're doing is handing it off to a new group of people, that's only part of the puzzle. That doesn't really get to see it from end to end. Now think about this. Forget about caring about the whole product. Imagine you worked on something for 3 hours. Imagine you worked on a piece of homework for 3 hours and took 30 minutes through it. How would you feel? How'd you feel?
Outrageous.
Imagine you worked on something for months and you just threw it away. How motivated are you to go to work the next day? I would be. Especially when I know that the startup next door, the people that are developing there and testing there, are being able to see their products go from end to end in a few weeks and being released to customers and being iterated on. That's a beautiful thing. Like, who here uses mobile banking? Think about it. Okay, everyone. Okay, good. Everyone uses mobile banking. So do I. I mean, it's hard sometimes to think about what apps used to be. But were you able to deposit a check by taking a picture, a year ago? Maybe not. Were you able to even enter your phone using your thumb a year and a half ago? No. But were you still using the app? Absolutely. What are the 2 things you do on mobile banking? You make a payment, you check your checking account. Honestly, I go and check my checking account. Oh, no, good. Oh, I'll send an e-transfer, or I'll pay a bill. There's 3 things I do. How many times have you deposited a check using the picture thing?
No,
I think maybe once I did it. So the idea is the idea is that sometimes when we talk to clients or organizations about Agile, if we tell them that it's not going to happen now, that we're not going to build that feature out now, they think they're never going to get it. And that's where all the nervousness and the anger comes from. It's like, oh, this doesn't make Agile doesn't make any sense. When in reality, it's like, what are the main things that your customers need? Let's get that from them. Let's start getting them using our mobile application or product, and then we'll start enhancing it based on feedback. Like I can tell you, I have this idea about this dog walking app, and it's going to be great, and I wanted to do this, and then you show me the first version of it, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that, because now that I'm actually using it, I have a totally different mindset. People don't know what they want until they see what they don't want. Right? Agile sort of gives you the illusion of speed. Why? Because it gets you to where you want to go, not faster, but you may think that you need to go from here to here, where here is the beginning, and here is a fully beautiful mobile application. When in reality, when you start sprinting, you may actually get to here. This may have taken you 12 months. This only took you 4 months. And you realize that the product owner is actually happy with it, and we can actually release it. So it's like, oh wow, I was so much faster than Agile. No, you weren't. It's just that you didn't create the other 70% of the application that you actually didn't need or thought you wanted. It's the 80-20 rule. Has anyone heard of Pareto? 80-20? 20% of the land was, 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the people.
Yeah.
80% of the value comes from 20% of the requirements. That's sort of the idea. Is if we prioritize the product backlog well, and we get those top value requirements or features out to our customer, we may be able to get 80% of the value and 20% of the work. Obviously, it takes time and practice to do that. Oh, and once you figure out how long your sprints are, you want to stay committed to that. Or you don't want to be like, oh, we have a lot of work this sprint, let's make it 3 weeks, or let's make it 1 week. No, you want to stay committed to your 2-week sprints. Because as humans, we're used to a rhythm, right? If you come into work every day and your table's an absolute mess, that you're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to fix it before you start your work, or you're just going to be annoyed, or you don't know what to expect. And we don't work well under those circumstances. We work very hard to turn our life into a rhythm, into a heartbeat. Right? Like, I know I'm going to come in. I remember putting this here. I remember I had a calendar here which I wrote all my things on. Like, I don't have to remember that right now because I have it written down. Right? That's sort of what we're doing here. 12 months worth of feedback is hard to swallow. Right? 2 weeks worth of feedback is doable. It's digestible. Right? If you work for an hour on something and I come to you and be like, it's absolutely awful and it's wrong, you're going to be upset about it. So you're like, okay, I only worked 1 hour. Versus if you work for 3 weeks on something and I come to you and it's like, it's absolutely wrong, you're going to be like, oh, this really sucks. And you're going to get demotivated, you're not going to want to do it anymore. And that's sort of the idea here. And that's why we try to shorten. The biggest, if you take one thing away from Scrum, is that we're shortening the feedback. Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Everyone enjoy this?
Yes.
I certainly did.